So the topic is Stay Curious with OLLI at Bradley. So first, I'll introduce Diane Rock, who's the current president of OLLI. Diane Rock attended the College of William & Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia, and graduated with a degree in business. She started her career with Anheuser-Busch, in case any of you have heard of that company, upon graduation, where she worked for 29 years in sales and marketing. 6 years ago, she discovered the Osher Lifelong Learning Institute, known as OLLI at Bradley. Once she found the amazing community of learners, she never looked back. Currently, Diane serves as the president of OLLI. So I'm also going to introduce John Amdahl, who is the immediate past president of OLLI. And he took us through the COVID period. He was the president for 2 years. And thanks to John and the whole team there, we survived. So since retiring in 2011, John and his wife Sharon, and John didn't say where he retired from, but he was with Caterpillar. And he was director of research and technology, very responsible position. He's a very humble guy. He didn't put that in his bio. But he and his wife Sharon have become very active in the community with a focus on lifelong learning, the arts, and economic development. John has a strong interest in woodworking. If you want to see a wood shop, go to John's basement. He's got every tool. And some of his creations have been exhibited in the local galleries. John has a collection of dwarf conifers, that's pine trees, teaches classes on how to prune conifers. And I've taken a class that he put on pruning, very, very good. John's the past president of OLLI, Osher Lifelong Learning Institute at Bradley, frequent instructor at OLLI classes, and a frequent docent for OLLI learning trips. So please welcome Diane Rock for our presentation today.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is a topic I'm completely passionate about, and I could go on for hours about it, but I won't because you are all on a time schedule. So I'm going to honor your time schedule. Can you hear me? I've got like, no.
And we're recording you here.
Okay.
Now we can.
Okay, just switch it out.
Yeah, hold on. Switch.
Technical stuff. Okay, that means I've got to click and hold this at the same time. Okay, I'm confident I can do it because I go to OLLI and I learn stuff. So, yes. Okay, here's the good news. Every single one of you in here can participate in OLLI. Yeah, truly. What is OLLI? Like, some of you have heard of it. If you've been to an OLLI program, raise your hand, because I know there's some. Look at all of you. That's awesome. And I've seen some OLLI instructors here. It is the most amazing program, and it's a collaboration of 3 different organizations. The Osher Foundation was started by a man named Bernard Osher, who wanted to help universities continue lifelong learning. So people, I mean, every day at your job, you're learning something. And after you retire, there was not a mechanism for people to continue learning. And so Bernard Osher started this foundation. There's 135 universities in the United States that have OLLI programs. OLLI, OLLI is Osher Lifelong Learning Institute. 135 universities. I'm proud to say that Peoria, Bradley, is known to be one of the top 3 in the country, which is pretty amazing when you consider some of the other universities. We consistently get awards for our programs. Anyway, the Osher Foundation provided $2 million to Bradley to get this program started 25 years ago, and has given us guidance and leadership on how to set the programs up. The Bradley University contribution is huge as well. They provide the facilities. We have classes at Bradley in their student center, and we also have huge support from Bradley staff. There's 5 full-time people that work on OLLI, and other areas of continuing education, but primarily OLLI. So we've got great support from the university. And then the bottom here should say 300. I'm not sure why it says 100, but it's supposed to say 300. 300 active volunteers. Volunteers think of the programs, they help set the programs up, and we couldn't do it without volunteers. That's really the heart of OLLI. So who can be in OLLI? Who can be in OLLI? Anybody that's curious, anybody that wants to keep learning, and it used to be you had to be 50 or above. However, during COVID, we had all these people working at home, and we had pivoted to Zoom just like everybody else. And so people were like, can I take a lunch and learn with OLLI? We're like, sure. Well, you're only 30. Well, okay, that's fine. So we opened it up during COVID to people under 30, or under 50 rather, and they've stayed. And we thought, what the heck, as long as people want to learn, come on in. And we still do a lot of programs on Zoom, so it still works for a lot of people. So all you have to do is want to learn. That's it. We have 5 different formats you can learn in. There's OLLI classes, there's OLLI study groups, there's OLLI learning trips, there's OLLI originals, and there's OLLI online. There's programs continuously online if you do online. Okay, I'm going to talk first about OLLI classes. They are held in January, April, and October. And good news for you is I've got this brochure, which is hot off the press, and most of our OLLI members don't have yet, that has all of the programs, the classes coming up in April. There's 28 different classes that we've got in April. They are held at the Bradley Student Center, and there's 4 different time periods in a day, and then you go for the 4 Wednesdays in April. And good news, there's no tests, there's no homework, yes, and there's no grades. So it's learning for the sheer love of learning. There's no downside. You're just learning because it's fun and you want to learn about it. And how awesome is that? Wouldn't you have liked to have done that in college or in high school? Just take something for the heck of it because you wanted to learn it and not worry about the grade. But we didn't have that choice. That wasn't a choice when I was in school. So it's learning for the joy of learning. There's always Zoom classes if you want to do a Zoom. And you can take 1 class or you can take all 4, you can take 2, whatever you want. So the classes are held while we have, there's 9 bubbles up there. Find your bubble. My bubble's the STEM bubble. Bernie Drake, our history guy, his bubble's the history. He teaches a lot of the history stuff. I hate history. I like Bernie, but I don't do any of Bernie's stuff. I like STEM, so I do STEM. Every one of those bubbles up there, the 9, we have classes. Every single time we have classes, there's something in each one of those. And we target when we're developing the programs that do we have something in philosophy and religion? Okay, well, we need something. We have every one of those represented. And when we teach when the classes are held in April and October, students are on campus. And so you can't park on campus. So OLLI has already solved that problem. We have 2 satellite parking lots. One's at Westminster Church on Moss Avenue, and one is at the Bradley Student Center, at the Shea Stadium, which is where the soccer team plays. It's right off University. And you park there, and we have one of these buses that picks you up right in the parking lot and drops you off at the front of the Bradley Student Center. It's like, so if it's raining, no problem. You just get on the bus and drops you right off at the front. So we've made it easy for parking. That's not an issue. Okay, now study groups. This is my favorite area, study groups. It's more in-depth learning. When you take a class is instructor teaching to the people in the room. Study groups are more this way learning. Like there's a facilitator and you're learning from each other in the room, and the facilitator doesn't have to be an expert. They frequently are, but you don't have to be. And the students learn from each other. There is homework a lot of times. If you're in a literature study group, you've got to read a book or it's chapters of a book. I'm right now taking a 3D printing study group. And so everybody in the room was assigned a topic. My topic was how is the medical community using 3D printers? which I had no idea. However, I researched it and then did a presentation on Tuesday to the rest of the group on here's how 3D printers are being used in medicine. And that's amazing, by the way, if you want to know. Wonderful things ahead. So the study groups are like this way, learning, and they're smaller, usually 12 to 20 people, and there's all sorts of amazing fun things. You can't even believe it, all the different topics. And participation's expected, as I said, and we meet in community venues all around. We meet at the library, we meet at Peoria Next, we meet at Makerspace over here on Hales, where my 3D printing class is. So it meets around the community. And once again, there's a study group in all 9 bubbles. So find your bubble, and there's a study group that would be something that you might be interested in. And then another way to learn with OLLI is learning trips. I call them field trips with learning, because if there's no learning involved, OLLI won't go there. It's not like just a fun thing. There's always learning. We always have somebody teaching us at that place. So there's local, regional, across the United States, and international. The local trips are a half day. We have OLLI shuttles. You meet at Bradley in a parking lot, jump on the shuttle, and then the shuttle takes you to the business. And so you don't have to figure out parking or where's that business or whatever that. You tour with somebody that works at the business or at the factory or whatever. You tour with a person that's an internal person to that company, and you go to lunch afterwards, or sometimes it's lunch first, then the tour. But you go spend a half day, and then the shuttle takes you back to your car. There are 15 to 20 trips per quarter, and there have been some amazing trips. So fun. And here's the cool part. Places you couldn't visit because you're an individual, you can visit with OLLI. The Ag Lab, you can't go knock on the door and say, hey, I'd like to get a tour. Maui Gym, natural fiber welding, alpaca farms. I mean, none of this stuff could you ask to go and tour on your own, but OLLI opens the door for you. And then you get an expert there too who tells you all about it. It's unbelievable. It's so fun. And I've seen so many places that I would have never seen ever in a million years because of OLLI. So and here are some of the ones coming up. I'm going to natural fiber welding. We've got great stuff coming up. So those are fun too. And then there's regional trips, which you get a bus, a Peoria charter bus, go to the place. It's a one-day trip. Usually leave early in the morning, come back late at night, and it's usually to Chicago or to St. Louis or to Indianapolis, and it's it makes it easy for our members. Jump on the bus, you get to the place, then the tour's already arranged, the docent's waiting for you, come back, and you've had a great day. Here's some of the places that we've gone in the past. There's usually 2 or 3 regional trips every quarter. Then there are trips in the United States and international trips. It's a 1 to 2 week trip. So it could be to a national park in California. It could be to a historic site. So there's usually 1 or 2 trips per year that go somewhere across the country. And you can see some of the ones coming up. Well, these are ones that we've done in the past. Bernie, who's sitting over here from the downtown Notary, he's our Civil War guy. He's got one coming up that starts in Peoria and ends in Atlanta that's following General Sherman's march. So if you have any interest in that, see Bernie. But these are some of the places we've gone. And internationally, we just had a group of, I think, 25 people just come back from the trip to England, Scotland, and Wales. So, and it's super easy. You sign up for it, and OLLI handles the rest. So that's kind of nice. We're going to Iceland in July. I've been to Iceland. It's really cool. If you want to go, look at the OLLI trip. I've got a brochure. In September, that's where Bernie's trip is, to follow Sherman's march. And then in November, we're going to New York City. So then there's OLLI Originals, and this is everything that doesn't fall into anything else, any other category. There are 1 hour lunch and learns. There are 1 hour, so that can be done via Zoom, that you learn about a place, a thing, a business. There are 1 hour go somewhere. We go to Bradley, and there's a retired Bradley professor that flew in from Arizona to visit his daughter, and he did an OLLI talk on Russia and Ukraine. He was a Russian expert. There's all sorts of community leaders that do these, business leaders, and it's the stuff that you can learn that's amazing. There are Zoom travels. This was a new area for us because we never did anything with Zoom. Did anybody? Yeah, like who ever heard of Zoom? It opened the door for us to go to international places and national places while everybody was stuck at home with for COVID. So I attended one where we went to Alaska, and there was a park ranger in Alaska who was leading the tour in Alaska while I was sitting at my house. Same thing with the Everglades. The park ranger's got her waders on. She's got somebody filming her. She's out doing an OLLI talk for an hour in the Everglades. So just all sorts of stuff. We did a program with the Windows of Florence. We did a program with the Chihuly Museum in Washington. Just amazing stuff. Well, after COVID is winding down, we were like, why would we stop this? This has been so amazing. So we still do those kind of programs, that travel by staying at home and doing them via Zoom. We've also had themed dinners. When I first started with OLLI 6 years ago, there was a Russian dinner, and Angela Weck, who's known fairly well in Peoria as a professor, and she's a Russian expert. We had a Russian meal, and then she talked about Russia. This was before the Ukraine thing, so, but she's got one coming up, or did she just do it? I don't even know. She has a class in April on Russia, Angela Weck is. So that's coming up, and that's in this book, which I can give you when you leave here today. And then there's Support Local, and we were recognized at OLLI, at the OLLI convention in April, as a national winner because we did something unique. And during COVID, all these businesses were struggling because they couldn't have people come. And so we started a program where it started out primarily restaurants. So a restaurant like Touche, just as an example, would have a dinner. They'd offer 2 different dinners. You'd pick one of the 2. Then OLLI, and you would order it through OLLI in advance, and it was like $30 per person. Then the day of, you would go, and OLLI staff was outside and would be like handing you your bag of dinners. Go home, eat your dinner, and then the next day, the owner of the restaurant would do a Zoom call with OLLI and tell you about the history of the restaurant, tell you about how the meal was made. Then the chef would come on and sometimes prepare it again. So we were able to support local restaurants with that. And some of the restaurants told us their biggest day during COVID was OLLI Day, because we had 80 meals come out of small restaurants. So that was a really nice way for us to give back to the community. And we still do support locals. It's much less often because it was weekly at that point, but we still do some support locals and try to give back to people that have supported our community. So how can you find out more? That's your next question. Here are some ways, but I also have some other ways. I've got one of these for everybody that wants one, and on the back there's information on how to contact OLLI. We have a Facebook page, an Instagram account, Twitter, so you can sign up for any of those. We're still in winter in case you didn't notice, and so I still have the winter brochure because we've got programs we just started this week. So if you want to see what's happening now, I've got a few of these left. And then if you want to go to Iceland, I've got some brochures on Iceland. And then if you want me to put you on our mailing list and our email list, this brochure is back there, and all you do is fill out there's a little part inside that you just fill out and leave with me, and I'll get you on the mailing list to get the brochures and the email list. And if you don't want to carry all that stuff, just take a card, and it's got information. You can go online and look at Bradley at OLLI at Bradley. It'll take you right to the site, and you can click around. There's tons of information, and it is more fun than you can believe. I knew one person that did OLLI when I started 6 years ago. One. We have 900 members currently and had 1,200 before the pandemic. I knew one person. I now know hundreds of people, and I'm here to tell you there's tons of smart, retired, well-traveled, fun-loving, energetic people in Peoria that do these trips. It is so fun, it's unbelievable. So I would encourage you to look into OLLI if you are retired, near retired, or not retired and have no intention of retiring. Because it's super fun and you'll meet wonderful people. I am always amazed at the amazing people that are in this community and like, what the heck? I didn't know any of these people. So it's really, really fun, and I would encourage you to join OLLI. And if there are any questions, I'll take them, and if not, thank you.
Talk loud. If you want to step to the podium, then we'll bring this around. So your Zoom trips got me interested in asking the question of virtual reality. So that's becoming more accessible these days, especially with the Meta Quest. And a lot of the places like the museums are coming out with free virtual experiences. Is that something you guys maybe dive into for your students?
We actually have a virtual reality study group coming up at the museum. I've already taken it. It is amazing. Like, you put these glasses on, there's a whole room that has been donated for students to learn. Students, it was originally students younger than the OLLI members, but there's a room in the museum close to where the decoys are that is a virtual reality room. And so we've done one study group there. I think it might have been pre-COVID, but another study group's coming up to teach our members about virtual reality. And we've all been amazed. And we do Zoom trips to museums, is what Bernie is saying. But I don't think that addresses the virtual reality that you were asking about. Okay.
My dad has recently been doing the OLLI classes, and he signed up just this week for the upcoming. As soon as he could sign up, he signed up, and he's already on the waiting list for some of the. Are you planning to offer more classes because you're opening it up to more people?
Yes, and it's kind of a chicken and egg. You hate to have somebody prepare a class and then not have people sign up, but we just keep getting more and more people. So yes, and tell your dad to put himself on the wait list, because frequently we call people on the wait list. And the other thing is, if we see a wait list of 40 people, we know we have to repeat that, because that shows those of us that are on the executive committee and the planning people, it shows us what we need more of. So yes, since COVID, each quarter we've increased our number of offerings. So yay for your dad.
What is the cost of the classes?
It is such a bargain. You can't even believe how cheap it is. It is such a bargain. Our membership is $5 a quarter. Other OLLIs can be $500 per quarter. Ours is $5 per quarter. Study groups are $40 for the 4 to 8 weeks. And classes are $30 for the 4-week session. It's a bargain. I couldn't even believe the pricing when I first looked at it. I'm like, what on earth? How do you get to learn this cheap? The tours, it varies by the lunch and learns can be $15, $25, $30. It depends. And the learning trips, it depends on where we're going. And the learning trips can be limited. We have 2 24-passenger buses, and so learning trips fill up sometimes. And sometimes it's the bus capacity, but often it's the place we go that limits it. Like Eureka Crime Lab is a super popular OLLI trip. It's always on a wait list, but that's because they let us bring so few people to the Eureka Crime Lab. So, we Put yourself on the wait list so we know we got to keep offering them. Any other questions? Well, thank you. I hope to see you at OLLI. Please join me.